All right, so very good afternoon to all of you, our cherished viewers, and welcome to another exciting edition of Hot Issues. So, lots of things have been happening in the fight against Galamsey. We've all joined in the fight. We want to protect our water bodies. We want to protect our environment. We want to ensure that future generations would not blame us, the current generation, for destroying their water bodies and destroying the environment. This afternoon, we're still continuing on the fight against illegal mining. Many of you have termed it as Galamsey. And so when we return after this short break, I'll be introducing my guest and we'll be finding out. Now, there's a controversial twist to all of this. We're told that what many of us considered as legal mining, it's in itself illegal. What am I talking about? I'm talking about small-scale mining. When we return after this break, I'll be introducing my guest, and then we get into a conversation, one, on the fight so far, and then two, how small-scale mining, which we all thought was legal, has become illegal. My name is Winston Ankomah, and this is Hot Issues. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, so welcome back from that short break, and thanks for staying with us. This is Hot Issues, and my guest for this afternoon is a leading member of civil society group Occupy Ghana, and is also a private legal practitioner. Of course, we all do know him, Ace Ankomah. Good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining us. So, first of all, tell me what you make of the fight against illegal mining so far.
Well, we have to define what is legal, and then everything outside legal is illegal.
Sure.
Right. Now, by law, all minerals belong to the people of Ghana, with the president holding the minerals in trust for us. So you might have land that might have been in your family for 100 years. You can farm on it, you can build on it, but if minerals are found in the land, the minerals do not belong to you. It belongs to all of us. So nobody has a personal right to minerals. The minerals belong to the Republic of Ghana, acting through the president as the ultimate trustee of the minerals. So through Parliament, laws have been put in place, and through the Constitution, to regulate mining, so that you might have the land. If there's need to mine the land, we'll actually pay you compensation, send you off the land, and mine the gold, diamonds, whatever we find in the land, uranium maybe one day. So now the regulation is this. For the big entities, you first go through what is called a reconnaissance license, where you are not allowed to literally touch the land. You can fly over the land, you can take planes to look over it. When you present the reports, you move to the next stage of licensing, prospecting license. Now you can go on it, do what they call geophysics, geochemistry, take samples to the lab, measuring, etc., etc. The third stage is the mining lease. At this point, you are allowed to go in and start real mining. So that's, we can call that large scale. Then we have what is called small scale. Who are people who really can't afford to go through all of this, reconnaissance, prospecting, etc., to the mining lease stage. But you're going to be given what is called a small-scale mining license, which allows you to go onto the land and immediately start mining. And there are regulations. Small-scale mining is only for Ghanaians. Absolutely. No foreigner can engage in small-scale mining. In fact, you cannot even employ a foreigner if you're a small-scale miner. It is an offense. You can go to jail. Both you and the foreigner can go to jail for up to 10 years. A foreigner who does small-scale mining in Ghana can go to jail for 20 years and can pay up to 360,000 Ghana cedis in fines.
Okay.
And for the Ghanaian who employs them, you could go to jail for up to 10 years and pay almost up to 240,000 cedis in fines. And indeed, if you fall foul of these two, and these laws were specifically passed to stop Galamsey, because Galamsey is small scale, is for the most part small scale, but we'll come to that.
Yeah.
Now, there's also power to seize your equipment and give it to the state, not just equipment, but the products. If you've mined any gold, you're entitled to seize it. That is how strong our laws are in regulating illegal mining. But our fight is against all kinds of illegal mining, so that if a Ghanaian goes for a small scale license and knocks it off, hawks it to a foreigner, mostly Chinese. Both he and the Chinese have committed an offense.
Sure.
If a large-scale mining operation goes outside its concession, it is engaged in illegal mining, that is Galamsey. If a large-scale mining operation is giving its tailings to people who are not licensed to pull out more gold from earth that has previously been mined, it is engaged in illegal mining. So our fight is against all forms of illegal mining, however they present themselves. But if you look at the environmental scale of it, then we should be fighting every illegal mining. Because you see, if the mining is legal, then we can regulate them. We know their bounds. We know the territory that we've given to them. But if you can simply show up with a pickaxe and headpan and dig into the ground and start mining and using mercury and messing up our water bodies, then we are clearly dealing with illegal mining, and that's what we have a problem with. All illegal mining is Galamsey. As long as the mining work is not covered by the legal licensing regime, it is illegal, it's an offense, and we should stop it.
Let's look at the legal licensing regime, because we do know that for small-scale mining, you go through the Minerals Commission, the minister signs, and that's the end of it. But now we're told, it's supposed to be ratified by Parliament.
Well, the Constitution says that every contract or transaction which leads to exploiting any of our natural resources require parliamentary ratification. Articles 268 and 269. Let's start with 268. It's as simple as that. Every transaction that leads to exploiting our mineral resources requires Parliament's ratification. As recently as 2016, the Supreme Court had the opportunity to interpret these articles of the Constitution. And it interpreted the word ratification to mean approval. Indeed, prior approval. So what it says then is that when you get the mining lease from the Minerals Commission or the small-scale mining license, it does not have legal effect yet. The effect of ratification is that its validity, its legality, depends on that transaction having been sent to Parliament for Parliament to ratify it. Now, we know for a fact that no small-scale licenses has or have parliamentary approval since 1992. In effect, all small-scale license holders are not permitted to commence operations, but they've been operating for several years.
So they're illegal?
Absolutely. Absolutely illegal and unconstitutional.
The CEO of the Minerals Commission says they're legal but unconstitutional.
I didn't hear him say that, but that is it's a laughable and incongruous term. The Constitution is the basic law of the land. You cannot have anything which is unconstitutional yet legal. It's like saying the person is dead and alive. It does not make sense. It doesn't add up. It has no legal... it's unframeable in legal terms, to be kind. The Constitution demands it. And if he looks at the Indebugri versus Attorney General decision, it says that the validity of the transaction depends on obtaining parliamentary approval, parliamentary ratification, but interpreted to mean approval. And the court explained that two judges read the decision, Justice Atukba for the majority, and Justice Benin departed a bit on some aspects, but they came to the same point in the final analysis. So you can say that in part, he dissented in part. They said that it is to make sure that the representative of the people have the opportunity to review some of these transactions, to ensure transparency. Look, these MPs come from various areas. It is to ensure that they, if a license is going to be given in an area where an MP is, at least he knows about the license, he knows how it's been presented, he can present it to his people, or he can present up, he can bring up ideas, options that probably the regulators did not have in mind. And so the Supreme Court has come out clearly that this is prior ratification. It is prior approval. Without it, the license is invalid.
Yeah, talking about somebody knowing, is another more reason why if you get to the small-scale licenses, it's published at the District Assembly. So if you have any concerns, you raise it. Well,
but it still doesn't make it legal. The fact that it is published at the District Assembly does not make it legal.
It takes into consideration, somebody making sure that the right things are done.
Well, the right thing that should be done is that the Minerals Commission knows that the licenses that it's been issuing have no force, have no legal validity without parliamentary approval. And so the Minerals Commission itself and the Ministry for Lands and Natural Resources, under its various names, in 2009, went to Parliament and asked Parliament to exempt small-scale licenses from the parliamentary ratification process. We've seen the documents. They went there, and that admits that indeed we have those licenses are unconstitutional and therefore illegal. Now, they are void until they've been ratified. So let's even call them voidable. But they have no force of law until they've been ratified. So literally, they exist in a vacuum, waiting for ratification to give them enforcement rights. They went to Parliament. Now, I'm not sure they received a formal response from Parliament. So either Parliament has ignored them or has rejected it and hasn't communicated back to them. So indeed, and in the midst of the constitutional review, they also proposed that that portion of the Constitution should be amended. But the fact remains that it's over 1,000 licenses that have been given out, and each of them has no force of law. The people who hold them should not be allowed to continue mining ever until Parliament has ratified each and every one of them.
But these are people who have been paying taxes to the government.
Well, the payment of taxes doesn't make something that is illegal legal. If I'm stealing from my firm and passing it off as income, and I pay income taxes on it, that doesn't change the fact that I've been stealing from my firm. That it's a payment of...
They shouldn't have been giving the go-ahead to mine in the first place. They've been doing this all this while.
I agree.
And so for us to turn back and say, you know what, stop when investments have also been made in there, thinking that I was supposed to have gone ahead and started mining.
If a thing is illegal, it is illegal. Whether you toss it around, roast it, bake it, boil it, it is still illegal. Yes, we should take on the authorities who have the responsibility to make sure that this is legalized, who didn't do it. So let's begin to ask questions of the ministry. Let's begin to ask questions of the Minerals Commission. But it doesn't change the fact that none of those licenses are legal.
What of Parliament? They should have been ratifying these things.
Let's ask Parliament. Has it been sent to Parliament? And Parliament has refused to ratify them. So let's begin to ask questions. Minerals Commission, Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. When did you send these agreements to Parliament for ratification? Then let's say that they've done their job. If the Minerals Commission and them to Parliament, and since 1992, Parliament has not ratified them, then we hold the feet of Parliament to the fire. But I'm not sure that has happened. But let's find out. At which stage are these? So between Lands Ministry, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, sometimes we even have Ministry of Mines, those ministries, the Minerals Commission. The question is, have you ever presented these to Parliament for ratification? Then Parliament itself should be asked questions. You also know that there's small-scale mining. You passed the law that regulates small-scale mining. Have you ever inquired that where are these licenses for me to ratify or for us to ratify? Between these institutions, somebody has seriously shortchanged Ghana and is probably partly or largely responsible for the Galamsey problems that we have.
Would you support an amendment of that aspect of the Constitution?
Well, look, I think the Supreme Court makes sense when it says the representatives of the people ought to have a view, because these are mineral resources. And the framers of the Constitution are in effect saying we don't want to entrust the entire process of giving out Ghana's mineral resources to just the executive. So let the executive and the legislature work together so that we are sure that these things happen. Look, if we want to amend, what's going to happen to our petroleum agreements? They should also, only the one commission should give the licenses. No, all of those should go to Parliament. But there's a further argument that if you stretch it to forestry, you stretch it to water, that every harvesting of water then might require parliamentary approval. So there may be room for looking at the realities of it to see whether there are things that we would want to exempt from it. But as it stands, my view is that that's the law, and we have to apply the law.
But you support some exemptions in there?
If Parliament says, now the question is, has Parliament said it's unable to ratify? If Parliament says we're able to ratify 1,000, then let them do it.
1,000 agreements?
What's 1,000 agreements? 1,000 is the licenses. You read them, you say we agree or we don't agree. What does it take? If Parliament is serious, they will finish that in less than a month. Just 1,000 agreements. What's 1,000 agreements? I mean, of how many pages? 2, 3 pages? That's not a big deal. And most of them are standard form agreements anyway. So all you're going to have to look for are maybe the descriptions of the land, how close is the land from water bodies, etc., etc. But it's a template. It's a standard form agreement. It is not a big deal. If they want to do that job, they would have done it. How many years have we been since 1992 to now? If they wanted to do it, they would have done it.
There's a debate also that some of the large-scale mining companies only got their deals ratified somewhere 2008, 2009.
Well, as we begin to ask questions, then we may find out that maybe these articles of the Constitution are more notorious in their being disobeyed than they are being obeyed. It appears that even for the big mining leases, there was no parliamentary ratification until not too long ago.
And if it happens that way, what happens to all the mining they might have done in the past?
Well, if we're going to go back into nullifying all of that, that presents another interesting challenge. But the point to me is that it's better we stop what is going on now and in the midst of it regulate that which has gone on, which is wrong. Right? But look, we can't say that on the basis of previous mistakes, a current mistake that is affecting all our rivers should continue. It's affecting our lands should continue. We can go back to see whether all of these mining companies, when they are finished mining, have done the reforestation, etc., that is required of them. There are many things, there are many, many bases to cover, but we have a clear and present danger, and unless and until we are prepared to stop it, we might be in worse trouble than ever. Have you ever looked at Google Maps over Ghana? Look at the rivers. They're almost all gone. Ankomah they turn into like a rich man's Milo drink with milk. It's brown. If you see where the rivers meet the sea, they are polluting the sea. Google Earth shows it. If you go to Shama, at the place where the river meets the sea, the portions of the sea are already brown. So we are loading chemicals and silt and mud and dumping it into the sea because some people need to mine gold to live. Apparently, the only river that is really unaffected now is the Volta River. But even then, our work shows that they started mining some of the tributaries or the sources. So soon, the mud will begin to drift down. Are we going to wake up only when the Ghana Water Company one day wakes up and tells us, guys, never drink water from Ghana because it's all polluted and possibly has chemicals in, before we wake up to stop it? Really? We need to stop this thing now and then start regulating. At least we know those we've given the small-scale licenses to. Let's go to Parliament for the ratification. Stop them from working. Let's go to Parliament. Let's get the ratification through. Let's regulate where they are supposed to mine. Let's have a rule. Nobody mines within 3 kilometers of a river. We need to protect our river bodies because they are of more value to us than gold can ever be to us. Imagine when a state where we don't have any water to drink. That's where we are getting to. We sit in Accra and think this is not touching us. Some of the sources of the Densu River are being affected. Very soon, the water we drink here will be a problem. So let's not mollycoddle this. Let's not be nice about this. Let's simply stop it first and then regulate. I'm not saying stop it forever. Stop it, regulate where they mine. Kick all of those people out of the rivers. It's going to take us years. People reckon over 50 years to clean up those water sources that we've messed up simply because people want to mine gold. The Brim River is technically dead. Literally, it's been blocked so many times, it's literally frittered away. How long are we going to wait to stop this illegality? I think that the opportunity presented by the fact that they have failed to obtain parliamentary approval, it's a good one, and we should simply say, everybody, stop it now. That's why we have the military. That's why we have the police. Deploy them. Let's stop everybody.
We'll come back and look at, the fight in detail. So far, a lot of things have been done. We're expecting a comprehensive plan to be out, and then we'll know how that fight against illegal mining is expected to go. You're still live on Hot Issues on TV3 with me, Winston, and my guest this afternoon is Ankomah, leading member of Occupy Ghana and a private legal practitioner. We go for a short break. When we return after this break, we look at the fight itself against illegal mining Galamsey. All right, so welcome back from that break, and thanks for staying with us. I still have Ankomah here with me. So Ankomah, yes, we're talking about, stopping it. But the other problem, the challenge facing all of us, is livelihood issues. Lots of people are going to be unemployed as a result. How do we deal with that?
Well, I can only make suggestions. Ultimately, issues like this have a political tone and color and even tenor. And so we can only make suggestions. Occupy Ghana actually went into mining areas to study what was going on. And you're right, there's a livelihood issue. There's a whole gamut of people involved, apart from the kingpins, who are the ones who own the mines and even own processing plants. There are the young boys who are the ones who are the miners, who go into the earth to dig. There are women who do the head pan bit, carry the soil, the sand, the rocks, for them to be crushed. So there are various, and who feed on it. There are industries that feed on it, people who cook food and sell to the miners, et cetera, even prostitution. So there's a whole economic, there's a whole, what our report calls the Galamsey economy. Now, how do we address this? Now, let's not forget the basics. This is an illegality. And so the fact that a person benefits from an illegality is no reason not to stop it. Else we'll say that, armed robbers, there's also an armed robbery economy. They have no jobs. What do you do with them? So let's not even start doing the comparison. But we recognize that it is lands that are being destroyed. When you get into the rural areas, you hear things like, wherever there's cocoa on the land, there's gold. And so cocoa farms have been chopped for gold. It is time to reclaim the lands. These people can easily be hired and given money to help in the reforestation, in the cleaning up of our river bodies. They could be trained to work. I mean, this is something that the government has to be ready to invest money in. in terms of the environmental damage and everything, for sitting down all of these years and allowing this to happen, the government ought to show some of the responsibility. And part of it is to make sure that these people get into meaningful jobs. Maybe the one district, one factory scheme is something to immediately put on an accelerated scale so some of these people could get employment. But clearly, reclaiming the lands, refarming those lands, and putting in place a general economic structure that makes sure that farming really pays. And farming doesn't condemn you to a life of penury when you can sell your cocoa farm and make more money than you probably would have made for the life of the cocoa farm. There are basic things that government must do. There are basic things that civil society must do. There's the education bit of it. But I believe that one of the key areas the key things to consider is that we have to consider how people are going to be resettled and how people are going to get jobs. Let's make this clear. Galamsey is not an alternative job. It's not an alternative job. It's not a job option. Let's get that clear. It's an illegality. Let's just stop it and then see how we can work to rehabilitate and get people working again.
So what do you make of the media fight, the media campaign against Galamsey so far?
Well, I think that there's something we need to recognize, that the fight against Galamsey just didn't start. It's come up in fits and starts and it's stopped. But this time there's a momentum, and we must harness that momentum. There's been ebbs and flows, but this is a great wave. And if we miss this, we might miss it maybe for the next few years. And one appreciates how much the media is involved in this. I mean, leading newspapers, leading stations like yours are whipping this up. This has a life. And if we don't harness this during its life, it may simply pass us by. And so it's welcome, it's appreciated. But let's also forget something. One of the key things to credit for the current momentum is social media.
Yeah.
Suddenly, we don't have to wait for TV to see. We don't have to wait for newspaper to read. We don't have to wait for radio to listen to. And editors could decide what we could see, listen to, or hear. Somebody in the farm, somebody in the mine will send you a picture by WhatsApp, or will post it on Facebook, or Instagram, etc., etc. And so the role of ordinary Ghanaians, unhappy about the state of affairs, is something we need not discount. The ordinary Ghanaian paying 5 cedis data. I think we should recognize the role that these people have played in creating that awareness, which has led to this momentum to stop, to stop and regulate Galamsey.
So, for what do you make of the posture of government in this fight?
Look, I think that government, and I'll speak of government as a continuum. I think that government has tried. They passed the law. They couldn't implement it. You hear the former Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Yunus Hussaini, that he tried and literally got stared down to stop. He talks of his experience with the Chinese. He said it on Facebook. They offered me a scholarship. If I'm lying, then the former minister is lying. Or if he's lying, then I'm lying. So somehow we have tried but not been able to do it. Let's be honest. They confess that whenever we have tried, they have tightened some, relationships with us, which has rendered us incapable. Well, now the people of Ghana are saying we don't care. We are going to stop this because it is not benefiting us at all.
The Chinese have written to us again.
Well, who cares? Let them write their letter. Well, let the politicians deal with that. We, the people of Ghana, say this thing must stop. Excuse me. Can I go to China and mine the Yangtze River for gold without any permits?
How dare you?
Can I say that the Great Wall of China has great uranium deposits under it, so I sit in a plane, go to China, buy a pickaxe, and start? Really? Which country will allow this to happen?
But you have Ghanaians fronting for them.
Well, when the axe falls, it will fall on everybody. Because the Ghanaian fronting for them is fronting because of his money, of the money he or she will make for them. It is not a justification. The fact that a Ghanaian participates in an offense does not make the offense proper. And so we have to stop it. We are sorry, China, we love you, but as for this one, you can't do it. Look, this is how bad this Galamsey thing is. Not only are we losing our environment, which will not be allowed in China, we are losing taxes, actually. We are losing revenue. We are losing royalties. I'll give you one example that we are investigating. Somewhere in March, the trade attaché of the Swiss embassy announced that Switzerland bought $2 billion of gold from Ghana in 2016. $2 billion. Switzerland alone. Now, gold goes to many other places. Some to the United States, some to Europe, some to Asia, Dubai, India. Basically, but Switzerland said that Switzerland alone bought $2 billion worth of gold from Ghana in 2016. Do you know how much the official records to all over the world is? It's less than 2 billion.
Yeah.
Ghana's official records is 1.9 thereabout. So Switzerland bought more gold from Ghana than Ghana produced. How's that possible?
Tell me.
Illegal sales. Sales that did not go through the official records. Because the authorized dealers buy illegal gold. Our research shows that a lot of the mining in Upper West and Upper East region ends up in Mali and Burkina Faso, who have suddenly become very serious producers of gold. A lot of the gold simply leaves this country in suitcases or boxes, unchecked, through our borders, through our airports. So we are losing taxes, we are losing revenue. Now, this is the thing. So I'm saying that if you go to Minerals Commission's records, it's 1.9 billion, which includes sales to Dubai and India and elsewhere. Switzerland alone says they bought 2 billion. Clearly, people are laundering illegal gold and selling them to countries like Switzerland. And the reason is that, unlike diamonds, where there's a Kimberley process, there's no Kimberley process for gold. So we have no way of knowing that this gold is legal or this gold is illegal. When we went to the ground, some of them told us that when they mine the gold, they sell it sometimes to the big companies. So, and that is clearly laundering. That is illegal. It's an offense to buy illegal gold. And so, if we don't stop this, not only is our land being degraded, we get less the value we are supposed to get for our gold. This is wrong on all scores, and we should not try and, let it look nice. It is not nice. It is ugly, and we need to deal with it.
We're talking about the Chinese bit. I mean, they are trade partners. Over the last 5, 6, 7 years, it's risen to about some 6.6 billion. That would clearly affect us, Ace.
6.6 billion over which period?
Dollars. I mean, last year. Yes.
Last year.
Yeah.
Well, so we should sit down and drink mud. Is that the option? That because we trade with them to the tune of... Wait, then let's ask a question. Is it 6 billion money coming from there, or it is our money going to China to buy goods?
Both ways.
Both ways?
Yes.
How? So our money which goes there is also being counted. And because of that, we should drink mud and chemicals? I mean, then we don't deserve to exist as a country. When God created Ghana and put gold, crude oil, manganese, diamonds, bauxite here, he expected us to use our brains. I make the point that countries don't develop through natural resources. They develop through brains. That is why Switzerland is a rich country. That is why Japan is a rich country with little or no natural resource. But God gives you all of these things, and you say, because I trade with China, let the Chinese fly in here, pollute our water bodies, and we are quiet and silent and docile, then let's be recolonized. If that is the kind of thinking we have, then let's be recolonized, and let's say yes, massa to somebody of another color. Are we proving Nkrumah wrong that we are incapable of managing our own affairs by saying that because of trade with one country, its nationals can come in here and without proper licensing dupe us? I'm not saying we should throw them out. Let them go through the process everybody goes through. Let them go through getting a reconnaissance license. Let them go through getting a prospecting license and get a mining lease. But something we have reserved for Ghanaians is now being taken over. And not just that, they are doing it with no licensing at all. In a place called Agyekum, the Ghanaians do the Galamsey up to the sacred forest because they want to respect the sacred forest. Then the Chinese take over from the sacred forest and cut the trees of the sacred forest and mine the gold.
Really?
Really, yes. Are we simply going because they don't fear our sacred forest? Aren't we sounding ridiculous? And is this what we want for ourselves as a people? My respectful view is that there is no basis for this. We need to stop it. Let the Chinese or other foreigner who wants to mine gold come in properly. I was talking with a friend who trades in China. He tells me, for example, that you can't stay in China for more than 30 days if you go to do business.
Okay.
So they have laws. So he says you could be in China on the 28th day, you realize that, wow, it's 28 days. So you leave and go somewhere else and return so you can get another 30-day entry to continue your business. So we go there and hopefully obey their laws. We're sorry, when you come in here, you're going to have to obey our laws. If we can't insist on our laws because of money, then let's just put shackles on our hands and sell ourselves back into slavery.
Well, now that they're telling us, okay, be mindful of how you do it, isn't there any other approach to this that wouldn't affect bilateral relationship?
How is this going to affect bilateral relations?
That's what they suggest to us.
I mean, your people are breaking our law and you're talking of bilateral relationships? Really? I'm saying that if we continue this argument, let's all buy shackles, put on our hands, and sell ourselves into slavery. This land is ours. And if we are incapable of protecting this land because of bilateral relations, then we are incapable, we are not fit to be called Ghanaians. Then we don't deserve to exist as a country. We are supposed to be an independent, sovereign nation. Look, humanity, we are degrading our environment, allowing foreigners to degrade our environment. You watch those films where those Western boys came into Ghana, mocked us. They said, look at this country. We are going in there, we are going to mine gold. We won't take a single permit. We will show you the gold we mine. And they filmed themselves. They came into Ghana, went into the forest, mined gold, filmed the gold, filmed how they took the gold out of this country, and made a movie out of it. Are we not ashamed? And those boys, didn't they come from countries with which we have bilateral relationships? Are we so poor that the poor now laugh at us? Are we so poor that we cannot think? Are we so poor that we cannot take control of our own economy? Is that what we are saying to ourselves? Sorry, I have absolutely no patience for the argument that on the basis of bilateral relationships, we shouldn't regulate it. We are not saying that they can't mine. Mine legally and respect our environmental laws. Is that too much? Is that too much to ask of anybody?
And by so doing, it must come through large-scale mining.
Absolutely. Bring money into mine and hire Ghanaians and give them jobs. Don't hire people to hold guns and desecrate our lands and not fill up the holes so that when they've left, somebody tries to farm and falls into a hole and dies. Is that what we are encouraging? No way.
What do you make of the minister's 3-week ultimatum given to small-scale miners?
I wish it had been a 1-hour alternative, but 3 weeks is better than nothing. I think he has just 6 days to go, so we are watching it. If he does not do it in 6 days, I promise you he'll hear from us. We have already written to him that they have sat down for all small-scale licenses to be illegal. We are demanding of him that he cancels all of them immediately. We're giving him 7 days. If he doesn't do it, he'll hear from us.
Well, he's told you in 6 days' time, that's illegal Galamsey.
I'm counting the seconds.
Really?
Literally.
You can't wait for it.
The media coalition and all of us are counting the seconds. We can't wait. We have to stop this. This government has an opportunity to stop this. The people who voted are demanding that the leadership should stand up and be counted. We are waiting.
If it didn't work in the past, how sure are you it's going to work this time around?
The answer that came to my head, I don't want to give. But the fact that you started walking and fell doesn't mean you're still crawling as a kid. Every kid starts walking and falls. But God put in us the ability to go over ourselves when we fall. And so we might have started and failed. We cannot be defined by our failure in the past. Then we are not fit to live as human beings. You move forward in life. So we all failed in various things. You fail an exam, you rewrite. So we are rewriting the exam. We studied the past questions, and we know we will pass this exam. And we are daring government to try and fail this exam.
What happens if they fail?
It's unthinkable. We will tie them down in court actions. We will campaign against them. And trust me, every politician is afraid of losing elections.
Oh, if they fail to deal with Galamsey, you campaign against them?
You have no idea. You have no idea.
Well, they've been threatened in Akwetia that if they fight them, they would also campaign against them.
We are more than the Galamsey people. The reasonable and honest people who want this country to be saved are more than the few people, well, the hundreds or maybe thousands of people who are doing Galamsey. And once we do it and they are properly rehabilitated, then this argument doesn't apply at all. But to say that we should all stop and allow our waters to be polluted, our lands to be polluted because you want to make gold, is that what you want for Ghana? Is that what anybody wants for Ghana? That's not what we want. So yes, there's a social engagement level. I believe we should engage with them socially. We should look at their sex situation. We should help to provide for them alternative means. But nobody engaged in an illegality has the right, the temerity, impudence to threaten the rest of Ghana. I'm sorry. We are more than them. And we are telling everybody that stop this thing now. Regulate it. Put some sense into it. And if they did not put a sense to it, Occupy Ghana is just saying that, well, if you just have to watch this space. Because as for the noise, we know how to make it. As for going to court, we know how to go to court. But I think that the government itself feels the pulse of the nation. Anybody who has his finger on the pulse of the nation knows that it is time to regulate this. It's going to happen.
It is time to regulate this. We need to go for our final break. When we return, we'll be finding out. So some courts have been, designated to deal with issues of illegal mining. We'll be getting Ace Ankomah's thought on this. Stay with us. This is Hot Issues. We're right back after this break. All right, so welcome back from that short break, and thanks for staying with us. This is Hot Issues on TV3 with me, Winston Amwa, and my guest this afternoon is Ace Ankomah, who is a leading member of Occupy Ghana and a private legal practitioner. We're talking about the fight against illegal mining. So the Chief Justice has established some courts to deal with this. How will that resolve the problem?
It's an amazing and welcome development. The Act 703 introduced these offenses that I'm talking about, and it's good that judges, who are trained in the area, try these matters. Often I say that law keeps being broken until one person is arrested and sentenced, and it sends a clear message. At the very least, it makes it more difficult for you to commit the offense. So we absolutely welcome it, and we will be there if the request is made to assist in developing the law in these areas to make sure that through the courts we put an end to illegal mining in Ghana, or largely stop it.
The challenge, however, is how to get these people before the courts.
It's not a challenge. They've just arrested some. There are about 5 of them, and it's almost always the number 5. It's 5 yes. Chinese, almost. The number is a magical sure. number. There are some of them before the secondary courts. I hear there's another set that has been arrested. I don't think it's a big deal. The message has gone ahead. Look, go to some of the places we've been to. You have Chinese road signs, Chinese billboards in Chinese language. What's Agyekum-Boateng? Another place that we've been to.
What's Agyekum-Boateng?
Yeah, we have a whole Chinese community. If you read the internet, they bring everything, right? So it is easy to arrest them. And technology, you see, there's technology. There's drone technology. Very easy. And there are a number of them in this country. Maybe we ought not to be talking about them here, but I'm saying that in 2017, it will be ridiculous if we say we cannot find them. It hasn't happened in the past, obviously, because people give them a tip that these guys are coming, and then they pack and leave. These people are largely footloose. But I think that even us, we are able to tell where some of them are. Look, it's not a big deal. Go to the internet, click on Google Earth, look over Ghana, expand the frame. You will see where they're operating. Along the river, it is clear. You see it's like a scar. You look at the river body, the river's turned, brown or yellow, and you look right by it, and you see the earth being dealt with. We have sent people into the areas who've brought us pictures, films. We have films of these things going on, so we know exactly where they are.
But except that arresting them becomes the problem.
Why would it be a problem? If the government gives the order, I keep saying that I think people underestimate Ghana's security forces. I think they are some of the best in the world if and when they want to work. Trust me, if the government gives the instruction that arrest these people, there will not be enough jails to hold them.
Arrest them, you go there, you find nobody.
They will find them.
They leave before you come.
Look, I'm saying that sitting here in Accra, we knew the times the Chinese were mining at Agyekum, so many kilometers from here in Accra. Because there were people who were, that's what I'm saying, that it is doable if we want to do it. We knew when they packed and left. Within hours of them packing and leaving, we knew that here. We know what is happening. Please, if we seriously want to arrest them, they are kingpins. They are known in the rural community. These are the people who finance the operations. And let's say they've disappeared and they've not gone anywhere else. That's okay. Okay, they stop.
Somewhere else.
We will find them. What I'm saying is that it's not impossible. This is 2017. You can sit in your office and find out who is hacking earth in some corner of Ghana. If I can stand in my farm at Agyekum-Boateng and look at Facebook and take pictures of the farm, why can't we find somebody who is mining gold? It is very easy. We have very good intelligence people in this country. They know where the thing is taking place. It can easily be stopped.
Talking about the kingpins, is it about time we focused on them rather? Because they are the financiers.
Well, if I give you money to kill somebody, can you say because I gave you money, I should be focused on it, not you? Yes, let's target the financiers and let's target the people who are doing the actual work themselves. For some of them, we may not need to arrest them. Well, look, we've said stop it. So maybe what's past is past, but don't do it anymore. If we find you doing it, we'll arrest you. And look, this is a painful thing. It's young boys, school-going age, who are in the pits. And our research shows that the pits often collapse on them. And sometimes when the pits collapse, they leave it. So the 15 boys are buried. End of the story. Nobody hears about it. Our research shows that sometimes there are turf wars over who controls which pit. And people get killed. And nobody hears about this. Look, this thing is more dangerous than we are being led to see it. Now, they go into the old mines, the old pits that have been abandoned by the old state gold mining corporations. The pillars are also being mined. And then the whole thing collapses, and 15 boys are buried. And nobody hears about it because they didn't tell their parents that was what they were going to do. So, Kwesi Ayera, and that's the end of Kwesi. Nobody hears about him again. This is dangerous. And so we need to look at it. Our research shows that the mercury poisoning first poisons the boys who are made to apply the mercury. So they have the earth, they've washed it, they pour the mercury in, they begin to burn it, they are inhaling the mercury. Doctors in that area are beginning to see signs of mercury poisoning, twisting fingers, twisted limbs, presenting itself. There's something called silicosis tuberculosis, which they get. Our research shows that there are two main streams of gold: the Bremanian for the Brem area and the Takwanian for the Takwa area. The one in Takwa has more, it has a little bit more of the silicon dust than the others. So as they mine it, as they inhale the dust, they present with a special kind of TB that, according to the doctors we spoke to, cannot be cured by the normal national tuberculosis prevention program medication. So we have young boys and young girls and women with children on their backs being affected by the health hazards presented first to them and then to the community. And we want to have a conversation. Really? There are times that we ought to be prevented, we ought to be protected from ourselves.
So what should the chiefs do in all of this?
We hear that some chiefs say, not in my area, and it's not happening. We hear that some chiefs have said, not in my area, and it is not happening in their area. We hear that some chiefs are the ones giving out the lands for this. Well, the law has no respect for a common person like me and a chief. And so if I break the law and the law is going to come after me, if a chief breaks the law is going to come after him. You see, people often underestimate the effect of the law. There's a statement I always make, or I like to make, that it is a dangerous thing to fall into the hands of the law. If the law hasn't caught you before, you think it doesn't work. The law is like a housefly. And the proverb is that if you have never had a sore, you think the housefly is not as deadly as a mosquito. Have a sore, and when the housefly lands on it, you see how painful the housefly can be. And so, look, I don't think that the social status of anybody should stop us from stopping the person from affecting the country negatively. Whether the person is a chief, a politician, a policeman, whoever is involved in this, if the law gets them, the law should deal with them.
Finally, as Occupy Ghana, you have a program on, or a plan for this Galamsey fight. You have some Red Friday.
Yes, together with the media, with the media coalition, we are all going to declare the 21st of April a National Red Friday against illegal mining. And so on that day, it's a symbolic and more of an optical or visual protest that we want the government to see that Yeniabre. And so we will wear red. We've been doing it in the past. We had one the past Friday. This time, the media organizations have decided to adopt it for one day, 21st of April. Any Ghanaian who is worried about the negative effects of this should wear red to work or anywhere and make it known. What we normally do is that it's on social media. So people take pictures and post it on social media. They post it on our Facebook wall, and we send the message. Now, those who have been in government before tell us that they really got worried about some of those events. So it's a National Red Day against to show our disapproval, in respect of illegal mining. And we're encouraging all Ghanaians. Don't do much. Wear red, take a picture, and post it wherever you can post it.
Ankomah, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for coming.
All right, so folks, that's all from us this afternoon. So you know what you have to do on the 21st of April. If for nothing else, just wear red, take a picture, put it on social media, and we all know that you're committed against the fight against illegal mining. My name is Winston, and on behalf of the team, I say thank you so much for joining us this afternoon on Hot Issues. Do have a lovely weekend, and see you on Monday on 3FM 92.7 from 5:55 a.m. to 10 a.m. Bye for now.